here on this last day of June. We have here this morning the Managing Director of Akora Resources, Mr. Paul Bibby, to deliver the most recent company presentation, which focuses on the results analysis from the iron ore material from the Becky-Soper iron ore project. So I'll hand it over to you, Paul, to take it away. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Peter, and good morning, everybody, and thanks for taking the time out to join us to today's webinar on Akora Resources. What we're going to look at today is a bit of a refresh on the 2020 drill results, and in particular the product grade results. A look at the different types of iron mineralisation we're seeing at Becky-Soper and what we see to be special about that. A discussion on the traded iron ore resources and products as a bit of a comparison, and also then talk about the 2021 drilling program, which is underway. This opening slide is from last year's drilling program. You can see the drill rig there at Becky-Soper. The surrounding countryside is flat to undulating, and as you can see, it's a pretty remote site. So drilling's underway, and the objective is to define a maiden JORC resource for Becky-Soper, all being well by the end of this year. This next slide is the forward-looking statements that's required to be shown, and the competent person statement from our geologist. So Becky-Soper is our main project as part of Akora Resources iron ore suite of projects in Madagascar. The left-hand box there, Becky-Soper, 100% owned by ourselves, 4 permits with just under 100 square kilometres of ground. There's high-grade outcropping iron ore, and this is the sort of iron ore that we're seeing outcropping, 66% iron at surface. Significant historical work and a few shallow drill holes, which showed 12 metres at 66% iron and 19 metres at 65% iron. And on those main tenements, a 6-kilometre strike. The 2020 drilling program confirmed the iron mineralisation continued at depth, which was one of the main objectives of the program, and plus 62% iron product grade could be produced quite readily. The Becky-Soper project, which you can see on the map of Madagascar there, is some 250 kilometres from the port of Toliara on the southwest coast of Madagascar. Also in our portfolio, we have 2 other projects, Tra Marina and Ambody Lafa, the initial projects that we had within the company. They're on the central east coast of Madagascar. Tra Marina is a very interesting project. It's 100% owned by ourselves, and it's 16 kilometres from the coast, a 2.5 kilometre strike. It's a different type of iron mineralisation to that at Becky-Soper, and historical drilling there in 2011 showed 35 metres at 35.7% iron. If we just quickly have a look at Tra Marina, these are our next project opportunities. As I mentioned, Tra Marina is 16 kilometres from the coast. It was acquired in 2009. And before 2006, the project was unknown to the outside world, and it was discovered as a bank-funded airborne survey. If you look at that first photo on the left-hand side, that's us hovering over the deposit. You can see the Mangoro River there, which flows out to the ocean some 16 kilometres away. The drilling results intersected iron mineralisation at surface, weathered material, and banded iron formation at depths with grades of 31, 34, 36%. The Ambody Lafa project, which is some 45 kilometres from the coast, has a very strong iron anomaly. It has some drill holes we put in there in 2013, grading around 30 to 37% iron. The reason I've put these projects up is because the demand for iron ore has continued to be so strong, and there's an opportunity for us in Akora to look at ways to bring forward our development plans on these projects. So presently we're looking at different options to get some work done at Tra Marina in conjunction with the Becky-Soper. So now moving to the Becky-Soper project and looking back over the geological work that really helped us have the confidence to do the drilling program in 2020 and continuing this year. What we saw is over the whole 6 kilometres of the strike, north to south, magnetite and hematite being present. The mineralisation was seen to be a series of parallel layers of massive magnetite and hematite within the host rock, which also contained magnetite. The north and central areas of the strike show steeply dipping massive iron layers dipping to the west. And if you look at the picture there on the right-hand side, that's Trench 39 in the central zone. It was dug in 1960. It's still there today to walk in. And you can see that band of mineralisation dipping to the west. And that's the high-grade iron ore material. In the south, the structure is more complex. It's faulted and folded, but still the outcropping iron is there. And it's shown to be, from the drilling program, to extend at depth. In 2019, we also conducted a Paramagnetic Survey. We walked over 350 kilometres, which is the purple lines there, the purple area, that central image. We crisscrossed the ground every 50 metres, and what we saw was a very continuous, extensive magnetic anomaly over the 6 kilometres of the strike. The red is the high intensity areas where there's a very strong signal, and then decreasing as you move out towards the purple. Looking in the northern area, there's that yellow line going across that very strong magnetic anomaly. The geophysical modelling shows that the magnetic intensity increases from the west, peaking and then dropping away in the east. And that's been modelled as a west dipping magnetic anomaly, and it's seen to be at depths of at least 500 metres and possible widths of 150 metres. So that's what we were doing, the drilling in the north, to confirm that magnetic anomaly. That geological work was also seen to match this ground magnetic survey results. So it gave us quite a lot of encouragement for that first drilling program. The geological interpretation, combining all of the work within Akora, the historical work, but the work done by ourselves, came up with this geological model. And in the central zone, what we saw, or what we believe to be there, is multiple high-grade iron ore layers. So they're the brown cross-hatched areas dipping to the west on that image there on the left, with disseminated magnetite grading possibly 40 to 55% in between. That's the shaded green areas. So from all the geological work, from the ground magnetic survey, and then from the historical work here, from the French BRGM, that's what we believed the ore body, the iron mineralisation, was going to look like. You can see the trench results there, 37 metres at 50% iron, that image, and there's 22 metres just below that, grading 60%. And then there's also some yellow triangles there, 67.5% Fe, 68.7% Fe. That's the results for these lumps of iron that we found outcropping at surface. So that was the model. And the idea was, with the drilling program, to have a number of drill holes cropping material. The drill holes are the black incline lines, starting at the west and at 60 degrees to the east, to intersect the ore body. And the aim of the drilling program in 2020 was to understand the extent of the iron mineralisation, start to get an idea of the volume and the depth and the width across the strike. So in 2020, while we were listing the company, we undertook the drilling program. 12 holes were drilled for just under 1,100 metres. They were along the strike from north to south on the main tenement 10430. If you look to the image there on the right, the brown lines are the magnetic intensity from west across to east. The outcropping areas are shown there with the reddy brown blotches on that image. And then at the north is Becky Soper drill hole 1, which is close to the northern part of the tenement. Some 500 metres below that is the second drill hole, 800 metres below that, the third, and then about 200 metres below that are drill holes 4, 5, and 6, and then so on to the south, with Becky Soper holes number 9, 10, and 11 in that southern area. Of the 12 drill holes that we drilled, 11 intersected iron mineralisation. Only the drill hole at the very south there of the tenement didn't intersect the iron mineralisation. And this confirmed that the mineralisation in that 4 kilometres that we've drilled has got consistent iron mineralisation at depths of at least 100 metres and potentially further than that. So this here is the drill result in the central zone, drill holes 5, 4 and 6. And this was designed to confirm the geological model, which was in the earlier slide, which I spoke to. So the inclined holes starting from the west of the outcropping and then going through the iron mineralisation, which dips to the west. What we saw there is each of the drill holes intersected iron mineralisation, being those sort of light brown shaded areas. Some high grade intercepts at surface of 61.4%. But as we go through, 30% iron, 32, 37 and the like. The width of that mineralisation in the central zone is some 150 metres of true width. And what we saw in the drill core, and this is the drill core is the image there on the right-hand side, is from drill hole number 5 at 38 to 39 metres. What we see there is magnetite being the grey material and some calcium silicate material being the white to sort of yellowy colour material in the drill core. This material here at 38, 39 metres below surface is grading 36.3% iron, and we're calling this type of mineralisation coarse disseminated magnetite. So looking at a summary of the drill hole results overall, over 1,000 chemical assays were done, very encouraging iron results, significant high-grade intercepts at surface, with iron mineralisation continuing at depth and across strike. So the objective of the drill program was confirmed, and that was to show that the surface phenomenon that we were seeing with the outcropping continued at depth below that outcrop material. A number of the highlights from the drilling program from last year: 25 metres at 61.4%. It's worth noting that the benchmark iron ore grade that we see reported, the price reported routinely in the press and in the media, is for 62% iron. So there's 25 metres there at 61.4, 13 metres at 63.5% iron, 7 metres at 65% iron at surface. And in one of the holes, 70 metres, continuous iron mineralisation from surface, grading 44% iron. So we saw significant iron mineralisation at depths of at least 100 metres and along the 4 kilometres of strike that we've so far drilled, with true thicknesses up to 200 metres. So very ideal volumes and shapes for potential future mining. What all this indicates to us is the scope for a major iron ore resource at Becky-Soper, and our initial target is for 150 million tonnes from the 2021 drilling program that's now underway. So this is a result, excuse me, of Becky-Soper drill hole 1. The drill hole in the north, it was the only vertical hole. This drill hole confirmed high-grade, massive magnetite at surface, so 64.7% iron over 7 metres. So that's material like this rock here, which is potential lump ore at surface. It also confirmed the French BRGM trenching result from the 1960s, where they saw 37 metres at 59.4% in the top of that image at the left-hand side of the slide. Most interestingly was the ore body is dipping to the west, and from surface to almost the bottom of that hole, some 70.5 metres, grading 44% iron. And when you look at that, the image here on the right-hand side, which is Becky-Soper drill hole 1, 58 to 60 metres intervals of the drill core material, you can see the grey being the magnetite, and interspersed with that magnetite is the calcium silicate material that's present, which is the host rock in the countryside. The material here, grade 50% iron. So it's readily upgradable to a high-grade product. In the southern zone, there's drill holes 9, 10, and 11. High surface of 62.4% and 63.5%. So again, that's grades at surface of benchmark iron ore material. The ore body has seemed to be continuous at each of those 3 drill holes, and the width of this band of iron mineralization is some 200 meters wide, and as you can see, depths of between sort of 30 to 50 or 60 meters deep at drill hole 9. The image on the right hand side is from Becky Soper drill hole 11, which is the eastern drill hole there. This drill core is taken from 18 to 25 meters below surface. It's weathered material. It's what we're calling lateritic massive mineralization, and it grades 63% iron. So it's classic iron mineralization, predominantly magnetite, but also hematite mixed in there within that weathered zone. So what we're seeing is material grading 63% iron in drill hole number 11. So this is where I want to talk about the different types of mineralization we're seeing from the first drilling program at Becky Soper. If you go to the left-hand side of this slide, Becky Soper drill hole 8, massive iron mineralization, grading 64.7% iron at depths of 29 and 30 meters below surface. This is within the weathered zone. Becky Soper hole, and that's Becky Soper 8 is in the central zone of the strike length. Becky Soper 11 drill hole is in the south. Again, massive iron mineralization, beautiful continuous mineralization there, grading 62.4% iron. Pure hematite or magnetite grades are 69%. So this is, pretty decent iron mineralization that we're seeing in this drill core. Then there's also massive mineralization as seen in Becky Soper drill hole 8. Here it grades just on 56% iron at depths of 70 and 71 meters. So in that middle image there in the drill core tray, very continuous gray magnetite material with a little bit of calcium silicate, alumina silicate material mixed in there. Becky Soper drill hole 1 is what we've got called the coarse disseminated. This is where the grade is a bit lower. This is grading around 47% iron. Again, what we're seeing here is the grade being the magnetite at 51, 52 meters below surface with a little more of the calcium silicate material mixed in. And then what we're seeing at depth is what we're calling fine disseminated iron mineralization. This is from Becky Soper 4. It's from 81 to 82 meters below surface, grades around 15%. So they're the 3 different types of mineralization that we're seeing at Becky Soper. Massive, which is the high-grade material, 62% iron plus or minus a bit. The coarse disseminated, grading maybe from say 30% up to 45% iron. Then the fine grading less than say 20%. The focus for our work is very much on the coarse and the massive disseminated iron mineralization and not the fine. And this is where we've done all of our product grade trials from the 2020 drill core material. So looking at the process results, this slide has a summary of those process results. We took from the drill core some material which we crushed to -2 millimeters. This was done to get an indication only of the drilling of the product grade results from the drill core. And what we saw after crushing 2 millimeters and processing only using limbs, low intensity magnetic separation, were excellent product grade results. Only one of the trials that we didn't produce plus 50% iron product, and that was from a 13.4% iron head grade, which is unlikely to be mined because it's part of that sort of fine iron mineralization material. All the rest delivered very excellent high-grade iron ore product. So from the composite product grade material, which is the combination of the massive and the coarse disseminated, we saw product grades of 62.8% iron, which is comparable to the 62% iron benchmark, which is quoted routinely. So that's standard product. From the massive mineralisation, which is the text box there on the left-hand side, we got up to 68.3% product grade at an 89% iron recovery. The average from all of the massive material, whether it was lateritic or fresh, was 65.5%. So that's considered high grade, and I'll talk a little bit more about that product grade there, crushing to only 2 millimeters. For the coarse disseminated material, so that's the lower grade material that we're seeing in the different iron mineralizations, upgraded to 63.9% product grade at an 80% recovery, and on average 62% product grade was achieved from the coarse disseminated. So still a very good product after only crushing to 2 millimeters. And what this indicates to us is that there's an ability at Becky Soper to achieve high grade iron ore products after lightly processing, which is a 2 millimeter crush and then magnetic separation. Standard conventional technology used by the majority of iron ore producers today. So what is the LIMS? LIMS is low intensity magnetic separation. This work was done at the ALS laboratory, the Iron Ore Technical Centre for ALS Worldwide in Perth, Australia. It has a vibrating screen which distributes the crushed material at 2 millimeters across that magnetic drum. The drum rotates, the magnetic material, magnetite, adheres to the drum, and the non-magnetics separate out just by gravity and because it doesn't attach to the drum. And the trials that we conducted to get an idea of the product grade, which has been shown to be outstanding, was at a 2 millimeter crush size. So looking at the massive and coarse, and remember there was the 3 different types of mineralization. The work that we've done on the product grade is from the massive and the coarse disseminated magnetite material. These images are from the north and the central zones of the strike, from north to south, from Becky Soper drill holes 1 to 8. So composites of those. The image on the left-hand side is a composite of Becky Soper 1, 6 and 8 drill holes. The product grade here is 68.3% iron. So very high grade, very clean. You can see that image there, sort of a silvery blue, steel blues type color, very clean, metallic looking product at 2 millimeter crush size. On the right-hand side is a composite from Becky Soper's 1 and 2. And product grade here is 63.4%. Iron recovery of just on 96% and a mass yield of 64%. So mass yield on the left of 80 and a mass yield of 64 on the right. So what that means is a mass yield of 80% means that if you mine 5 tons of the material, you get 4 tons of product, grading 63, 68%. So all very clean, metallic looking product. So the price for a 65% iron ore fines product at the June this year was $240. Before the presentation today, I had a look and it was at $250 US a ton. So potential for a very significant margin for a product like this from Becky Soper at the track. Product trials on material from the southern zone. So this is Becky Soper drill holes 9, 10 and 11. On the left-hand side, there's an iron ore product grading 66.9% iron. So this is from the lateritic material, the weathered material at near surface. Again, very clean looking product, minus 2 millimeter crush size, 67% iron, a composite from drill holes 9, 10 and 11. A mass yield of 75%, which means that for every 4 tons you mine, you get 3 tons of product, which is a very good outcome. On the right-hand side, there's a product there from the fresher material. This is below the weathered zone from Becky Soper's 9 and 10. And the product grade here, 66.5%. So this is higher than what you would normally see delivered for the 65% high-grade iron ore product at very good iron recoveries and mass yields. The other important thing to note is that these products have also got very low in specification phosphorus at 0.04% on average, 2.7% silica, and 1.2% alumina. So it's worth just remembering that these products are grading better than 65% iron with very low silica and alumina impurities. So outstanding quality in our mines, high-grade iron ore fines after only crushing to 2 millimeters. I'm now going to move to a bit of a discussion on what we see in the marketplace for iron ore and how that is comparable to what we're seeing so far from the exploratory trials at Becky-Soper. So this slide here is a comparison of the traded iron ore product grade, and the quality has been shown to decline from 2006, which is the image on the left-hand side, to 2016, the image on the right. If we just look at the image on the left-hand side, which is 2006, from the main producers back then, which was Vale, Rio Tinto, and BHP, Vale from Brazil, Rio and BHP from Australia, some 340 million tonnes per annum was shipped from those three producers. Vale's product grade is up at around 66.5%. That is from ground material from their deposits there in Brazil. Now, they grind to less than 45 microns to produce that high-grade material. Rio Tinto and BHP, the red and the green, again, 62% was the target. It certainly was the target when I was there in 99, 2000 sort of time period. We targeted 62%. 2006 declined, as you can see. And the average from the main producers, which is the black square, was 62.8% iron and a silica alumina grade of 5. By 2016, as the volume mined and sold increased dramatically to just under 1,000 million tonnes per annum, and we see the introduction of material from Fortescue, which grades around 57 to 58% iron, the average iron ore grade has dropped considerably from 62.8 to 60.8%, and the iron and the silica and alumina grade has increased from around 5% to 6.4%. So as product is being mined, the better resources are mined first, the grade has been declining over that time. And if you go back to our product grade here, 65% from here, 63% from those other product grades, with 0.04 phos, 2.7 silica, and 1.2 alumina. So that's an average there of just on 4% combined silica and alumina. You can see where it fits on the slide here on the right-hand side for 2016. If you come up around about the 5%, 62, our exploratory trials for Becky-Soper is very, very well placed compared to the product grades that are being shipped today from the major producers. And that's after a 2 millimeter crush. So looking at the resources and the product grades from a number of main companies, just so you get an idea of how we're seeing the Becky-Soper project within Akora Resources evolving. Iron ore resource grades, and this is taken from company results reports, for the total of the Pilbara in Western Australia, the Australian resource grade is 58%. In Vale in Brazil, the Minas Gerais grade is 47% iron, and LKAB, which is the Kiruna project in Sweden, grades 41%. So the Pilbara and the Vale was shown on the previous graphs. So 58 and 47% is being upgraded to an average grade of 61 or 62%. Vale is doing that after grinding to get those higher grade materials, and Rio Tinto and BHP and Fortescue, you can see the grades that they're getting from that resource. I've introduced LKAB, the Kiruna project in Sweden, because that's a magnetite project, and we believe it's the one that Becky-Soper is most like in terms of its characteristics. The Kiruna project has a strike length of 4 kilometers. It's been mining at that location for 123 years. The first 60 years as an open pit mine and the last 60 years as an underground mine, and they're currently mining material at 2,000 meters below surface. So I think in terms of a project that is similar, the Kirina project is certainly that one. If we go from the resources to actually what the product is being shipped from these major producers, again, results from the company reports, the Australian product grades is quite interesting. 41% of the shipped tonnes graded 58% iron. The remainder was around 62% iron. And what is of note to me, and it's been quite a shift from my time working in the Pilbara, is that only 24% of the tonnes shipped from the Pilbara was DSO lump, only 24% of it. So the bulk of the material produced by Rio Tinto, BHP, Fortescue and others is fines iron ore, grading 58, 62%, around 60% on average. Vale's product from Minas Gerais is both fines and a concentrate, grading the fines grading 62% and the concentrate grading 65% iron. This is after the material is crushed and ground and floated and magnetic separation. And they have grinding their material to less than 75 microns to achieve those grades. So quite a lot of capital intensive process and also relatively high cost. The LKA project at Kiruna in Sweden, it produces a high-grade iron concentrate, so very fine material, grade 66%, after grinding to less than 45 microns. So quite different results process-wise to what we're seeing so far at Becky Soper, where we're getting iron ore grades around 62 to 65% iron after crushing to 2 millimeters and some magnetic separation, which is no different to what Vale does or what Kiruna in Sweden does, or what happens at some of the process plants in the Pilbara. So going back and looking at the iron mineralisation, and it's worth noting that in the oxidised weathered material, which is the images on the left, the massive material there from Becky Soper drill holes 8 and 11, that material contains hematite and also magnetite, grading 62 to 65% iron at depths of 30 meters and 4 meters from the surface. Then we have massive material, predominantly magnetite, grading 55.6% from drill hole number 8 at 70 meters below surface. The grey there being extensive magnetite. And then the coarse disseminated material, which is we see right through those bands of iron mineralisation in the cross sections that I showed you from the drill holes earlier, grading 30 to 47% iron. This material, as we've shown from the initial product grade trials, without optimizing the processing at all, has upgraded to a high grade 62% iron fines product at a 2 millimeter crush. So 2 millimeters is 2,000 microns. All right. So this is one of the points I want to make today is that what we're seeing at Becky Soper is some unique characteristics about this iron mineralisation, the magnetite mineralisation, being upgraded at 2 millimeters to a saleable product with low impurities. This is quite different to the typical banded iron formation magnetite materials that are found in Australia, elsewhere around. They're called banded iron because, as you can see in that image on the right-hand side, there's striations of black and white, very thin bands. The black being magnetite, high-grade magnetite, but alongside that in the white bands is the silica material, which can grade 40%. The iron ore in this drill core here grades between 20 and 30% iron, and it needs to be ground to 25 to 50 microns to produce a clean iron concentrate. So this is the difference that we're seeing between Becky Soper, the massive and the coarse disseminated material, readily upgrading at a 2 millimeter crush to produce a saleable plus 62% iron product with low impurities, compared to the typical magnetite banded iron formation materials, which need to be ground to talcum powder size of 25, plus microns. So in summary, the drill results for Becky Soper from the 2020 drilling campaign, we believe, are excellent. Very good iron, phosphorus, silica and alumina results, high-grade intercepts of 7 meters at 65% iron at surface. And the pleasing thing is that we see the iron mineralisation continuing at depths of at least 100 meters. The next drill program will be going deeper than that to confirm the continuity of the ore body well below 100 meters in depth. It also confirmed from the drill holes 1 to 11, north to south, 4-kilometre strike with widths of at least 200 meters of iron mineralisation. The process trials which we did, which were unoptimized, where we crushed the material to 2 millimeters and did wet, low intensity magnetic separation on composited samples of massive and coarse disseminated mineral types, iron mineral types from different drill holes, produced product grades up to 68% iron with low impurities. The average from the massive and coarse disseminated material was 62.8% iron, which is just above the 62% iron benchmark grade with low impurities. So you'd expect if that was achieved from a production batch from Becky Soper in the future, there would be no penalties for impurities and a potential upgrade in price because we're achieving 62.8% iron. For the massive, predominantly at surface, or near surface, I should say, that upgraded to 65.5% iron, which is the high-grade iron ore product from that massive mineralisation, again with low impurities, at very good iron recoveries and mass yields. So in terms of what this means for the company, at Becky Soper, we see the scope for a significant resource. Our initial target from the 2020 results plus the 2021 results from the drilling program, which has already started, is an initial target of 150 million tonne resource, which is where we're looking to go achieve by the end of this year, and capable of producing a high-grade iron ore product. So now moving to today and the 2021 drilling campaign. It's already underway. And what I'd like to say first is that I'm having to do this remotely. Myself and the geologists are here in Australia. We've put together an excellent team in Madagascar. We've got a South African geologist who's resident in Madagascar, who has a very good geological team. He is ASX compliant in all of the work that he does. The drilling contractor, Canadian, again, has producing very reliable drill results, plus 90% recoveries from drill core. The material is very competent and is relatively straightforward to drill. So in these trying times, we've put together a very good team in Madagascar to do this geological and drilling campaign for us. Madagascar is in a COVID restriction phase. They're coming out of it. The number of cases of COVID in the last few days reported were at 28. So actually no different to Australia. But unfortunately, because of the developing country that Madagascar is, they're still experiencing a few deaths, which is very sad. We mobilised in late May and drilling commenced at Becky Soper on the 13th of June. We've already completed the first 4 or 5 holes and are getting some very good results. So it's confirming the model as we described earlier. We're drilling initially in the south. So we've gone to where drill holes 9, 10 and 11 are. We're drilling to the south and the north of that to confirm a volume. The objective from the 2021 drilling program is to drill 4,000 meters. It's now underway. The objective of confirming a reportable JORC resource by the end of this year, if all goes well. No interruptions to drilling, to analysis, or to the resource estimation work that needs to be done. And all being well, COVID doesn't impact us with the logistics. So that's the objective, and we're working very hard towards achieving that. Looking at the corporate side of Akora Resources, we were listed, as you know, on the 15th of December. So we've just passed the 6-month mark. There's 61 million ordinary shares on issue. There's unlisted options of just under 11 million at a strike price of 30 cents, and they expire at the end of 2022. Our enterprise value is $18 million. We had cash of just under $4 million in the bank at the end of May. and diluted market capitalisation is $22 million. Our major shareholders: Evan Chan out of Canada, Baker Steel Resources Trust in London, Mackenzie Financial, a significant resource fund out of Toronto, and management and directors at around 5 or 6%. The top 20 shareholders, they hold some 60% of the shares. And as you can see, those other major shareholders at 12, 8 and 6%. So we've got some pretty good shareholders in the portfolio. Just a reminder of the board: myself, Paul Bibby, is Managing Director overseeing the operations in Madagascar. John Madden is our Chief Financial Officer, looking through all the financial aspects and also the in-country relationships with the government and the like. Mike Sturzaker is our chairman, who brings a lot of financial experience to the company. He's also on a number of other boards, and most interestingly, importantly for us, he's on the Base Resources board, which is a Madagascan mineral sands development project just near Toliara on the west coast of Madagascar. So he brings some other Madagascan experience to us. And Stephen Fabian, non-executive director, an Australian who is based overseas, has also worked in Brazil in iron ore, so brings some very good experience to round out the company. So that's the update. Thank you for listening. And Peter, I'm certainly happy to take questions.
Thanks, Paul. A pretty comprehensive coverage there of every aspect, I think, and covered most of the issues or questions that anybody had. I think the highlight there that you've made clear is just the value of the in-ground resource, the simplicity of its upgrade to a very high-grade premium shippable product at a premium to comparable projects around the world. So if there are any questions that you'd like to send in to us, please send them either to myself, Peter at nwrcommunications.com.au, or directly to Paul at paul.bibby@akoravy.com. That's on your screen, and we'll cover any of those queries. But thank you for joining us all here today. This recording will be made available on the website as soon as we've edited and put it all together. Thank you very much for everybody joining, and thank you, Paul.
Thank you, Peter, and thank you very much, everyone, for listening. All the best.